Hi everyone, welcome to episode 7. Today we are talking to the lovely Daryl and Daniel from Speaking Insights. These guys are phenomenal. They are amazing people. I'm just going to go live for Facebook. They are incredible human beings being able to share what they've been through on their journey. So let me just share a little bit about them. They're a father-son duo, and they essentially go around the country talking to parents, carers, teachers, and allied health about their journey with autism. Now, that journey has 3 different perspectives. One perspective is coming from Daryl's position as dad. The next is coming from the position of Daniel, who is an autistic individual. And then the third is coming from Leash, which is obviously Daryl's daughter and Daniel's sister, and what her sibling perspective is like. And I think that's a really important piece that a lot of times we tend to miss. So I think it's what they've done. I've gone to see the actual program, and I was definitely welling up inside over a few things, and it also gave me huge amounts of hope, right? To see what Daniel has accomplished is amazing. And it makes me feel comforted that I look at Daniel and I think, well, you know what? If Daniel can do it, then so can my angel boy, and so can your angel boy and your angel girl, right? There are so many people out there that sometimes we just are looking for that glimmer of hope, and these two definitely do it. And so I urge you to please, 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 when their event comes up near you again, definitely book in. So welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for coming on.
Morning, Natalie. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
You are
That Leash is also an educator.
She is an educator, yes. And do you think, Daniel, that her experience growing up in your family that led her to be an educator? Do you think that was the pivotal moment that she decided to become a teacher?
I'll let Dad explain.
Yeah, I'm sure it has played a big role in that.
Yeah.
And she's not just an educator; she's a hugely passionate educator. So she really wants to make a difference to her students and
Yeah.
above and beyond.
Mm.
But we see often that siblings of autistic individuals or any disability, they often follow career paths such as education, allied health, their role. So,
Mhm.
and I think that's the journey that they've had with their siblings.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. I look at my daughter and I can see God knows what's going to happen in terms of the future, but I could see how she could easily fit into an allied health role, right? She's already doing so much with my son that it makes sense that she would go into an allied health role. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about getting the best outcomes for your autistic child. So let's start off. So, what prompted you to create Speaking Insights?
Well, I started sharing about my autism journey since the age of 13. So I've been there for 20 years. I was inspired by other autistic self-advocates, including then to share my story and help people better understand me. After presenting their presentations throughout the lesson, I decided 12 years ago in early adulthood to turn my public speaking into business and create insights.
So that's where it began. And I think what was really important was Daniel had been probably taken advantage of events like O.A.M, and the business model was important to add value to his perspectives. And then that grew 7 years ago with Daniel, and we've been.
Sorry, I'm going to pause you there for a second, Daryl. We're having trouble hearing you properly. I
Yeah,
can't hear.
There's a bit of background noise here that's coming when we're speaking, so I'm not sure what that is.
Okay, let me see if I can go on mute and see if that helps. Just repeat. I'm going to go on mute right now. Hang on.
Okay. So that's what Daniel was saying. 7 years ago, I joined with him to create what we now have. And for about 5 years before that, we'd been talking about collaborating. So we took it to another level. But as I was saying earlier, prior to Daniel creating the business model, he was probably, as a lot of autistic and disability speakers have probably experienced, was being taken advantage of to come and speak at events, but not being recognised for his value. So it was important for Daniel to take that next step and create the business model. And we don't do this to make money. We do this to share our story and make a difference to other people's lives. But it's important also in doing that not to be taken advantage of. So yeah, 7 years ago in 2017, I joined Daniel for the first time, and away we went. And yeah, we've taken our presentation all over Australia and occasionally internationally, shorter versions of it. And I think last count we've delivered our presentation over 100, between 110 and 120 times. So.
That's incredible. That is mind-boggling that you have done as much as you've done with the resources that you have, right? I think it's important for parents and carers and allied health and teachers to hear this perspective, right? Because I think it's like far too often we hear of autistic children being taken advantage of, whether it's being bullied or whether parents are feeling overwhelmed and they don't know what to do. I think your presentation gives an overview of from the very get-go all the way through to where Daniel is right now, and what you've done in order to not only prepare him for, you know, the external world that isn't really being built for a neurodiverse child or a neurodiverse adult, and to what you can do to help that. So that's amazing. And I want you to explain, because I know I had this question because I wasn't sure myself, but for people who are listening, what is O.A.M?
It stands for Order of Australian Medal Sign. I received an Order of Australian Medal for my service to disability and the community in 2017. I'll grab it there and show everyone.
Okay. While Daniel's doing that, so Daniel's resume extends way beyond Speaking Insights. He sits on many government bodies, including he spent 6 years or 2 terms on the Victorian Disability Advisory Council, which is run through the Department of Health and Human Services. He currently sits on some committees with V-Line and Public Transport Victoria, so 2 different committees about disability accessibility, and lots of other bodies, and he's done lots of that sort of volunteer work. His resume of his volunteer work and awards around that is about 5 pages long, so too much to share with you right now. And Daniel's got the amazing medal here.
Oh, that looks fantastic. Look at that. And well done to you, Daniel. That is a huge achievement. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a very proud dad moment when that all took place.
I bet it was. I bet. Okay, so what has been the biggest challenge for both of you throughout your journey?
Okay, for me, so Daniel's diagnosis was about 33 years ago. So awareness, I hadn't heard of the word autism when Daniel was diagnosed. And going home from that appointment, I couldn't go home and Google what is autism, because it was around about 1991, and that's when Google was just taking or starting off. Nobody had computers at home unless you were extremely rich, and so the initial challenge for me was information, understanding what autism meant, and for families coming through now, at least there's awareness. It would be hard to find someone that doesn't know that autism exists, but we've still got a long way to go with understanding, acceptance and inclusion. So for me personally, the biggest challenge initially was understanding the diagnosis, and that's still the same for families who are new to a diagnosis now, but it's a bit easier to find information. I think the challenge is siphoning out the good information from the not so good information. And the other biggest challenges for me along the way have been advocating for Daniel's needs through education and other places in relation to getting the reasonable adjustments and accommodations for him to be able to achieve and excel.
I think the biggest challenges for me have been being bullied and teased, being underestimated. They're the biggest things I can think of, and yeah, people having certain stereotypes around autism.
Yeah, I love that, Daniel. I think that my heart breaks every time I hear a parent who shares with me that their child who is neurodiverse is being bullied in the mainstream school or in special needs, but generally it's more in mainstream. And I just think, gosh, there's got to be a better way. We've got to, this can't be the only way that we can educate our children, right? And yeah, go ahead.
That's the one thing I wish we could take out of our presentation, the bit about bullying, because it's just so heartbreaking, and it's a heartbreaking thing for so many families, and not just at school, but in the community too. And the misunderstanding and challenges Daniel faces around communication, simply because his speech is a bit slower and monotone. That targets him in a lot of ways, which is really heartbreaking.
Yeah, I've experienced, I think I'm speaking clearly, but I have people say I can't understand a word of what you're saying. The other big challenge is expecting me to be as non-autistic as possible, no hand flapping or teaching me to make eye contact, and that's not really the goal of helping an autistic person be the best they can be.
Yeah, I love that so much. We are, right? We're as teachers, they're always like, okay, look at me, look me in the eye. I'm like, but that's not necessarily always the way people learn. Sometimes we learn auditory, and so it's easier for us to look away, even for typical people. It's easy to look away and just listen to the content. That's why so many people do so well with audiobooks, right? So that they can go off and they can listen to this particular book, take in the information, because it might be just too hard to read it on the page. So I have a pet peeve with that whole look me in the eye thing. It's Anyhow, that's another.
For an autistic person, if you're making them look you in the eye, you're switching off everything else. So they're not going to take in what you're saying to them. They're not going to learn what's being delivered to them. It's not necessary to look you in the eye to be able to receive the information.
Yeah, I love that so much. Okay, what's one piece of advice you'd want parents to know when they're about to embark on their journey with autism?
Primarily, it'll be okay. Secondly, your child is going to surprise you so many times along your journey by achieving things that you might have thought they won't achieve, or by achieving them sooner. So yes, it will be okay. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, and it's a journey that's got a lot of bumps in the road and challenges, and it zaps your energy, and it's full on. And every autistic person and child is different, so your journey is going to be different to everyone else. But I think to help with that, being part of the community and hearing other people's journeys and being able to take from those discussions the things that are appropriate for your child will make your journey easier, or it'll help you to understand the journey. But primarily, it'll be okay, and your child will achieve with the right supports to their full potential, and they're going to surprise you and delight you and give you so many wonderful, rewarding moments along the way.
I think what Dad says resonates, but some other pieces of advice is don't listen to the doctors who say your child will never achieve this, because I hear testimonies from parents that what the doctor predicted hasn't come out to be true. We're all different. And celebrate our different way of thinking, like, although the neurotypical way of thinking's the default way of looking at the world, there's other ways of looking at the world too.
And just adding on to what Daniel said, we highly respect the medical and allied health community and their support to families. But the one caveat around that is, unless it comes from lived experience, they can't fully understand what your family's journey is. And even from lived experience, every experience is different, so they have a much better understanding. So, if there's that negative input coming from a medical professional saying, your child's never going to achieve or whatever, definitely don't listen to that. And work at strategies to provide best outcomes and to help your child to achieve and to learn and grow. And you'll have so many wonderful experiences and memories that you create along the way.
And the different perspectives, like other parents, siblings say that you can better care for your sibling, and autistic people themselves.
Yeah, I love that. I often say to people either watching or on my blogs and whatnot that, yes, take the autism diagnosis because that's what child has been diagnosed with. But often I've seen medical professionals, and I'm not the only person who has said this, where they have said that your child will not talk or your child will not walk or insert whatever the thing is. And then as it happens, the child does go off and do those things. So yes, take the diagnosis by all means, but also take it with a grain of salt, right? I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of these medical, pediatricians or GPs, they don't have a crystal ball. They're not God. They're not source. They're not someone who can predict the future. So take the diagnosis by all means, but also work on what is the best outcome for your child, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think it's so important to look at the child as a whole. And this is half the reason why we decided to homeschool my angel boy, because I think that school just wasn't working for him. Special needs school wasn't working for him. Mainstream wasn't working. And so we were like, you know what, we're going to bring him home and we'll teach him at home. And it's been one of the best decisions. And let me be honest, has it been like this? Yes, it has. I am not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to pretend that it was all been perfect and what you see on the TV and whatnot. But I can definitely see the growth that he has made while he's been at home. So, what is the common thread that you see parents who come in to see you speak at your flagship program? What's the common thread that they generally try to tell you or share with you?
A few things. So I can't think of a presentation that we've done at any time, but particularly recently, where we haven't had parents, particularly parents who have a newly diagnosed child. Every time there's at least someone in tears, because sharing of our story and our journey and the strategies that we've used to achieve best outcomes for Daniel has given them hope for the future. And that is such a rewarding thing for us. That's our driver to keep going. But so there's that, and the other common threads are, you know, the struggles and the burnout and the stress and you know, the challenges that families are facing, and from that perspective, as I said, it's not going to be easy. There's going to be lots of road bumps that, you know, throw you on your backside, and you have to dust yourself off and get up again, but it's all worth it. But I think something that I was never good at for 30 years, and I've started to embrace it more in the last 2 or 3 years, and particularly as I part-time work for an autism charity that provides support to carers. For the parents and carers, you need to do self-care, because if you're burned out, you can't help your child or that special person. So, and it's a difficult mix to find that time to provide self-care, but there are support services out there to help you get that self-care, whether it might be just, you know, half an hour to switch off, or, you know, some sort of pampering, or you know, some services will provide meals that takes that pressure out of your day. Even if your children, you know, there's a lot of families that are cooking 2, 3, 4, 5 different meals every night because of the eating challenges that they face with their autistic family members. So, you know, if you can access something like meals, at least instead of cooking 3 different meals a night, you might be cooking 2 different meals and heating up one of these meals. So self-care is a really big part of the journey. That, don't be like Daryl, embrace it early on, and you know, use that to help keep your batteries charged so that you can do the best for your child and your family.
Yep. The other common thread I hear is that people realize that what I've achieved and the possibilities for their child, which often remind carers and parents, don't expect your child to be like me, because we're all different, but I appreciate the hope that I've given families for their own child, but just don't compare them too much with me.
I think you hit the nail on the head there with Daniel, with comparison being the thief of all joy. You know, I think it really needs to be a plaque that needs to go in every parent's household that has a neurodivergent child. Do not compare your child to any other child, because it's just like comparing apples and oranges, right? That'd be like myself comparing myself to Daryl, right? Or comparing myself to another adult. It's just, we're all different. We've all got unique strengths, but we've also got weaknesses as well. And that doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It just means that we've got our own zone of genius and we need to work on that. And that's where we need to really thrive in. And I think that parents, you know, I can definitely put my hand up and say, you know, there were definitely times when my son was in kinder and I'd be looking at his typical peers going, hang on, they can do it, why can't you? And this is really hard and this is really difficult. And I wish that you could just insert whatever the topic was, sit still, climb the equipment, pay attention, do whatever you were going to do. And sometimes we just need to be like, well, they're not there yet and they need some extra support, and this is a little bit different and a bit more challenging for them, and we need to support them through that. Instead of getting angry and frustrated, we need to look at them and have compassion and love and empathy. And I think that I wish that more people who came into contact with neurodivergent people had that, viewpoint of, instead of getting annoyed, instead of getting angry, having that empathy and compassion and love.
Yeah.
I think this world would be a very different place if that was the case.
I think the biggest problem is the world's not built for neurodivergent people.
Yeah. And I think embracing that, we deliberately have named our flagship presentation, From Diagnosis to O.A.M, our Personal Autism Journey. So it's our journey. There's going to be lots of stuff in that will be similar to other families' journeys, but they're all personal journeys, and there'll be differences and similarities. And that was really important for us to include that in the name of our presentation.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. So when is your next flagship event coming up?
We've got a couple of private bookings happening, but we don't have anything locked in coming up. So we've had a very busy second and third school term this year. We've been all over the place, Darwin, Sydney, Newcastle, Melbourne, Horsham, Seymour. Help me out, Daniel. Where am I forgetting? There's other places, and he's been really busy.
David, or did mention the interstate?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And we've made a conscious decision to take the foot off the pedal a little bit for this term, particularly in the last part of the term. Like, everybody's busy in the lead up to Christmas and what have you. We are working on 1 or 2 presentations for late November, hopefully Yarrawonga, and we've got a couple of other things in mind, but we're just having a few delays in locking in venues. So as soon as we've got them locked in, we'll announce them on our social media, so Facebook and Instagram, and also our website. But basically, I'm going to say watch this space. And on that note, if anybody listening wants us to bring our presentation to their area, we're always open to people contacting us and asking, can you come to this place? Or if people want to make private bookings, we do bookings for like PD for businesses and what have you as well. We're always open to that. If it's to come to a location, we'll have a look at the viability of that and see if we can fit it in and find a venue. Finding venues can often be really hard. So yeah, in a nutshell, nothing locked in yet, but we're working on it, and it may or may not come to fruition, but yeah, keep an eye on our socials.
Yeah, I love that. And so for everyone listening, if you feel like that your school or even allied health are needing this sort of training, reach out to these guys. Their training is so important, and it is something that can be utilized not just by parents and carers, but by teachers and allied health as well. And I think, and like you said, Daryl, businesses, right? Seeing what it looks like to have a neurodiverse adult within the workplace. So I think that's really big. One question that I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit is, what would you say the best outcomes would be for parents? Like, if they were looking for the best outcomes for their autistic child, what would that look like?
Essentially, and this sounds really, well, not corny, but generic. The best outcomes for your child based on their skill set and abilities, but most importantly, for you and your child and your family to find happiness in your journey, and peace, and feel that you've achieved, or your child has achieved to their full potential. And that comes with providing the right supports. And I talk in our presentation about my approach to parenting, which is called authoritative parenting, I believe, and that's all about setting achievable goals for your child and supporting them to achieve those goals, and then moving the bar and setting the next level of that goal. And there's no negativity or punishment or whatever. It's all around encouragement and rewards, and And rewards don't have to be, anything monetary or the like. Just acknowledging their success is, a big enough reward. And yeah, just celebrating the outcomes, however big or small they might be, because each little step builds the staircase to success. So yeah, that's my perspective.
Daniel, did you want to add anything to that one?
Just that success looks different to different people, and also expect that things we might achieve one day, we might not achieve consistently because of factors like autistic burnout, executive functioning, stress. So yeah, be prepared that the thing that you or your child was able to do yesterday, if they're having a stressful day today, they might not be able to do that thing in that moment.
Yeah, a really good point to make for parents who I do see commonly, you get so frustrated because, Billy could do this yesterday and now today he can't do this. And why are we having this issue? And I do think that overwhelm and that stress, that, fight, flight, or freeze can really come into it. And we really need to take that into account when we're looking at a neurodivergent brain. Okay, so I'm going to go on to rapid fire questions, gentlemen. So here we go.
Okay.
Nothing too hard and too scary. Don't worry.
Right.
One word to describe your experience with autism.
Rewarding.
Yeah, the same.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. One myth about autism that you wish that would go away.
That we don't have empathy.
The myth around vaccinations, like, it's been proven to be false information. So come on, let's get rid of that.
Yep, fair enough. What's the most rewarding part of your work?
I'm saying people come away from our presentations with a sense of hope.
Yeah, that's so rewarding. Every time I talk about it, I get a tingle down my spine. Giving other people hope is one of the most rewarding things that you can do, and that's what we love about what we do.
Yes, yes, yes. I absolutely love that. A book or a podcast every autism parent should read.
Okay, so the book by Barry Prezant, an American fellow, Uniquely Human is the book. The first time I spoke with Daniel, which was at the APAC, Asia Pacific Autism Conference in Sydney, we got to share the stage with Barry in a presentation, and he's just incredible, and his book's amazing.
Daniel, do you want to add anything?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
That's okay. That's fine. What's your favorite thing about the autism community?
For me, it's the connections with others and working towards a common goal with building more understanding and a more autism-friendly world, and with fellow neurodivergent people, hanging out with people who get us and like me think differently.
Yeah. And for me, you said it in the question, community. The autism community is amazing. I often talk about our autism family, and that's the families and the advocates and other people in the autism community that we've met along our journey with Speaking Insights as we travel around the country. We've built some great friendships that are lasting and enduring through that community, and we consider a lot of those people including you, Natalie, as part of our autism family, which we just love.
No, I love that. I think community, like you said, is so important, because trying to do this by yourself is almost impossible. And I think that it's so important to have that community where you can lean against when things aren't going smooth sailing, right? That you can call someone and be like, this is really hard and it's tough and I'm not sure and I'm scared and I need to talk to somebody. And somebody who gets it, who's been through it, who understands what the challenges that you're facing. Gentlemen, is there anything that you want to... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Daniel.
Often for other divergent people on social media when it's given my understanding of both struggle with executive functioning challenges and even basic household tasks like getting around to emptying the dishwasher, for example, some days.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree with that. Yeah, before we wrap up, is there anything that you'd like to share before we finish up the program?
One thing, going back to, where are we going to next? I said you can book us, but I also referred to reaching out to us if you want us to come somewhere, particularly autism support groups in different regions. If you're interested in encouraging us to come into your area, that's not something we consider that you'd book us for necessarily, that it might be a collaboration between us and that autism support group to find a venue and have a public event that supports their members, but also other members in the community. So that's an option to explore as well. But we've loved this opportunity to have a chat with you, Natalie. We love the autism community. We love doing what we do, and just seeing the beautiful stories that we do from other people as we share our story. It's such a rewarding space, and for those families that feel like they're doing really tough at the moment, that is part of the journey. We've been there. We've had our really difficult moments along the way, but just stick at it. Get support as a carer, because you are an unpaid carer, even if you're not quite ready to put your hand up and say, yeah, I'm an unpaid carer, I'm just a parent. Well, you're both. You're a parent and an unpaid carer, and accept those supports to make a difference to your journey, but also connect with the community and share stories so that they will make a difference to your journey. And other parents have had similar experiences and have found things that have worked for their child, and that might work for yours. So embrace that.
And children or siblings might be unpaid carers as well.
Yeah, and in that work I do for the Autism Charity, I come across a lot of young carers, so that's siblings who informally provide a lot of support to the family. And there are supports there, not just for the parents as carers, but for the young carers. So, explore those options and seek those supports to acknowledge the siblings and the families that are doing often lots to support the family and mum and dad and their siblings who are neurodivergent. And, acknowledge that journey is tough too, and it's tough in so many ways. As Leash talks about, they tend to mature more quickly than their peers, which puts added pressures in their peer groups. They have a lot of caring responsibility at home. So, I've come across a family recently. The 12-year-old daughter is the one that's cooking meals a lot of nights because mum's working until 7 o'clock, and helping with the housework and juggling all those sorts of things. So acknowledge that journey as well, and explore the supports that are there to give them a bit of a boost.
Yeah, we just had a comment from one of the parents. Totally agree. We parents are unpaid carers. So all mothers who give so much to family should be so proud of themselves.
Absolutely.
So yeah, definitely. Okay, so where can people find you?
Okay, so our website is speakinginsights.com.au. On social media, Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, just search for Speaking Insights and you'll find us. And, you know, if people want to reach out to us with questions or you know, suggestions as to where we can come, they can contact us through our email address is on the website. It's pretty simple. It's admin@speakinginsights.com.au. Or they can send us a message through the social media platforms. And, you know, this is our other gig. I work full-time in 2 jobs plus do Speaking Insights. Daniel works in his job and does lots of community work and sits on lots of committees, etc. So this is his part-time or other passion project as well. So we don't always get back to you on the same day, or it might take 2 or 3 days, but we will get back to you.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, great. And so just for the listeners who are listening now or in the future, I will share the book that Daryl mentioned in a post so that you know where you can find it. Thank you again, gentlemen, for coming on. I really appreciate your time. It is always a pleasure to speak to you, and I will be speaking to you soon.
Thank you, Natalie. Likewise, and we love your work too, so keep up the good work that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Daryl.
Bye.
Bye.